Okay, so the first issue, by now I think we've understood that the issue of ruling by other than what Allah has revealed, that the Salaf make the well-known distinction between someone who does it out of juhud and istihlal, someone who denies what Allah has revealed, like the Jews did, or someone who claims it's permissible to rule by other than what Allah has revealed, and between the one from whom it occurs either due to compulsion, or to a desire, or intent to harm someone, in which case it's dhulm or fisk. Okay, so the first thing that we need to address, or the first proof that some of the Surooris use, is the takfir that Ibn Katheer, rahimahullah, quotes about the Tartars. As we all know, the Tartars, in the time of Shaykh al-Islaam, Ibn Taymiyyah, they came across the Muslim lands and attacked the Muslims, and they accepted Islam. And there's a fatwa, or there's a statement of Ibn Katheer where he quotes the ijma' of the ulama of the time, that the Tartars are kuffar, with the reason that they, like Genghis Khan had a legislation called al-Yasiq, yasa, in another word for it, sorry, and that he imposed it upon the people, and they accepted it, and so therefore they are kuffar, because they rule by other than what Allah has revealed, and that they replaced the Sharia of Allah. Okay. Now with respect to this issue, there's actually a clarification to be made. In fact, this proof that the Surooris use, the way in which they try to use it is they say, look, this is different from the tafsir of the Salaf of the ayah. Why? Because what the Tartars did was to replace the Sharia. Okay? So they're trying to take away this understanding, away from the understanding of the Salaf, by saying, look, they replaced the Sharia. Okay? So this doesn't fall under the well-known distinction of the Salaf. However, when we look at the reality of the Tartars and of Genghis Khan and what they were upon in terms of their belief and their thought, we find no. In fact, it falls into the very same principle that the Salafis affirm. So Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he quotes about 6-7 points concerning the Tartars, and he mentions certain characteristics about them. So he says, for example, that they, the Tartars, they make the deen of Islam equivalent to the deen of the Jews and Christians, and that all of these are ways to Allah, at the same level as the 4 madhhabs with the Muslims. And that amongst them are those who favor the deen of the Jews, or that of the Christians, and amongst them is one who favors the deen of the Muslims. So see how they had this aspect to them. Another one, even their leader, this vile kafir, munafiq, and he's talking about Genghis Khan, he authored a book in which there occurs that the Prophet ﷺ was pleased with the deen of the Jews and Christians, and that he did not reject that from them, and that they were not rebuked nor forbidden from their religion, nor were they commanded to convert to Islam. And he continues also, so such a one, and those like him, from amongst those who have preceded them, his aim after accepting Islam was to make Muhammad ﷺ at the same level as this cursed one, meaning Genghis Khan. What he's trying to say is those people from the Tartars who became Muslim, what he tried to do was that he tried to portray that Muhammad ﷺ is on the same level as Genghis Khan. Because they claimed that Genghis Khan was actually a prophet, and they claimed that he had a legislation as well that he brought, which was revelation. And then he says, okay, and it is known that Musaylama al-Kadhdhab was less harmful to the Muslims than this one, and he claimed that he was a partner to Muhammad's messengership, and for this reason the Sahaba declared it permissible to kill him, and to kill those apostates with him. So how then for the one who, from what he displays from Islam, makes Muhammad like Genghis Khan? And likewise another quotation, as the greatest of those who have preceded them, those in Asham, said while he is addressing the messengers of the Muslims and seeks to get closer to them by saying, we are Muslims, and then who then says, these 2 great signs came from Allah, Muhammad and Genghis Khan. So this is what those who preceded them used to get closer to the Muslims. So the Tartars used the likes of this kind of rhetoric to get closer to the Muslims, to make them think they were Muslim. And then he says that he makes the messenger of Allah ﷺ and the most noble of creation, and the chief of the sons of Adam and the seal of the messengers, equal to a king who is a kafir and a mushrik, one who is the greatest of the mushriks in his kufr and fasad and udwan. And number 5, another quotation, And that is because the belief, i'tiqad, of those Tartars in Genghis Khan was great. For they used to believe that he was the son of Allah, similar to what the Christians believe regarding the Masih. Likewise, number 6, and they, along with this, make him the greatest of messengers to Allah, in their adoration and aggrandizement of what he prescribed for them, and legislated for them, from his thoughts and desires, until some of them said regarding the wealth they had, this is the sustenance of Genghis Khan. And they would offer thanks to him for their food and drink. And they would make permissible the killing of the one who showed opposition to what this cursed kafir prescribed for them, this opposer to Allah, His Prophet and His believing slaves. So after this then, is there any doubt that the reason for the takfir of the Tartars was because, first of all, this Genghis Khan, in fact, let me bring another narration of how the followers of Genghis Khan, and Genghis Khan himself, he dictated this legislation from himself, and claimed it was from the rule of Allah, and how his followers wholeheartedly accepted this. Is there any doubt now, based upon what you've read, that the takfir of the Tartars is based upon what? Istihlal. Where they said that this is permissible in the sight of Allah, that Judaism and Christian are religions in the sight of Allah, that Muhammad ﷺ never rejected them, rather he accepted them. And the fact that they made Genghis Khan a partner to, just like Masih alayhi salam. So is there any doubt now that this takfir that the ulama report about the Tartars, is it a takfir because they replaced the Sharia? Or is it because that they did this, and they said this is from the deen of Allah? So in this there is no proof for the Khawarij or for the Surooris, rather it falls back upon the affirmed principle of the Salafis, who make a distinction between kufr of i'tiqad and kufr of action. And from here we move on to the issue of istihlal. What is istihlal? Istihlal, again I've got all the narrations here but I can't really find them. Ibn Taymiyyah explains that istihlal is to hold that Allah has not forbidden something. Yeah, to declare something to be permissible. And there are many other statements of istihlal. Likewise, we now move on. So we've discussed the issue of the Tartars. Let's now move on to this issue of tabdeel and istibdal.